Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Oklahoma on the road playing Alabama. If you are a fan of good on good, this is the game you want to be watching. I'm looking at this Alabama offense and say, hey, there ain't many quarterbacks better than Ty Simpson. There ain't many offensive play callers better than Ryan Grubb. There ain't many better wide receiver rooms better than Alabama's, going up against an Oklahoma defense that very well might be the best defense that we see in the country, led by the best defensive play caller we've seen in the sport dang near decade, and Brent Venables. Hey, this is elite on elite. And when you want to get into this game, I firmly believe this is a game of matchups. There are certain matchups that favor Oklahoma. There are certain matchups that favor Alabama. What team capitalizes on the matchups that favor them the most? Probably going to be the winner of this football game. Now, what I want to do over the next 15 minutes, it's a good old-fashioned roster battle. To those who've been rocking with the boys for the last couple of years, y'all know this is a way I like to dive into a game. We're going to go position group by position group. We're going to evaluate these two rosters. Kind of, one, it gives us a feel for, hey, who's got the better roster going into this one. More importantly than that, gives us an idea of where the matchups that are most important lie in this football game. Before we get into it, as always, Alabama fans, Oklahoma fans, the best part about the roster battle is hearing from everybody in the comment section. We are going to evaluate certain position groups, talk about what position groups we like more. There's a lot of different opinions that you can have. Let it fly. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start the quarterback position. There's two big storylines, one for each quarterback. For John Mateer, it's what version of John Mateer do we get? This might be the biggest storyline in this football game, period. Right? John Mateer in the month of September, he looked like a Heisman caliber quarterback. The last 4 games coming back from the injury, it's a significantly different feel that you get from this Oklahoma offense. I think a lot of Oklahoma fans would agree with this evaluation that, if Oklahoma wants to go on the road and beat Alabama, if Oklahoma wants to go and make a run in the college football playoffs, you need the John Mateer that we saw in September back on the football field. Now, what should make Oklahoma fans feel good about this is I thought you saw some glimpses of it in the second half against Tennessee. Now having a bye week, kind of fine tuning some things. Can you get that version of John Mateer once again? Because you feel like you need it if you want to win this football game. The biggest, at least for me, looking at some of the numbers and watching this offense, the biggest difference I see in John Mateer's game is that playmaking ability does not seem as dynamic as it was in September. Like, I'm a Michigan fan. I watched John Mateer run circles around what I think is a pretty damn good Michigan defense, and it was largely because John Mateer has that it factor to him. Feels like that's been missing a little bit. Can we get that back on the road against Alabama? Because you're going to need it. Now, when you look at Ty Simpson, the storyline here is he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He has struggled in 3 different games. Florida State, because they got home on some pressure packages. Missouri, because they're really good at getting after the passer. He struggled against South Carolina a little bit because they're really good at getting after the passer. Oklahoma is arguably the best out of the bunch, right? This Oklahoma pass rush, they're sacking the quarterback 11.2% of dropbacks. Brent Venables is going to be coming on the road, and he's going to be aggressive with the blitz packages. 2 different storylines. Number one, how well does Ty Simpson handle the blitz packages and pressure packages that Brent Venables brings? Number 2, can this Alabama offensive line pick it up? And we'll talk about the offensive line a little bit later. I think this offensive line is meaningfully coming into form. When you talk about Alabama changing the script of what this team looked like against Florida State and what we've seen the last 2 months, Ty Simpson's been really damn good, a hell of a lot better than what he was against Florida State. At the same time, this offensive line is coming along. That's the storyline. What version of John Mateer do we get, and what version of Ty Simpson do we get under pressure? Because look, I at least this is my evaluation. Oklahoma's going to get home. Like, Oklahoma is going to impact Ty Simpson in ways that maybe he has not been impacted before. Can Ty Simpson manage it? Probably the biggest storyline in the game. Now, running back position, it's a wash. I don't think any Oklahoma or Alabama fans would argue that. Neither of these teams run the football all that well. Neither of these teams have the most dynamic running back rooms in the country. I will lean with Xavier Robinson in the Oklahoma running back room because we have seen Xavier Robinson back-to-back weeks now go for over 100 yards. Oklahoma, in their success, both of these teams having some sort of success running the football and staying out of those obvious passing situations, feels big. Like, I don't think either of these teams are going to run for 250 yards Saturday. What team can do a better job keeping themselves on schedule? That's going to be a big deal. Wide receiver room, I think this one's pretty clear. It's Alabama's. It's one of the best wide receiver rooms in the country. What stands out to me about Alabama, especially opposed to Oklahoma, is, man, Alabama's got so many guys that can beat you in so many different ways. Where you look at Oklahoma and say, kind of really relying on Isaiah Satania, really relying on Deion Burks. And if it's not Satania or Deion Burks, there's not that many other guys in this Oklahoma wide receiver room right now that you love. Alabama's got so many different ways that they can attack you in this passing attack with a fleet of wide receivers that all excel and do different things at a high level. Offensive line. To me, probably the second storyline of this football game. Now, Alabama's offensive line is better, but you also have Oklahoma's defensive line better. And that matchup is going to be huge. And I think the big storyline for Alabama, one of the things that we talked about way back in September was, as Caden Proctor started rounding into form, and I'll say this, last 2 months, there's not been a tackle in the country that's played better than Caden Proctor. He had a really bad game against Florida State. He's been borderline elite the rest of the way. The big storyline was what's going on the other side, Will Conformi. He's been pretty damn good the last couple of weeks, and that's a huge storyline for Alabama. You know, this is a team that has national championship expectations, and I don't think a lot of Alabama fans had confidence that this team could win a national championship. If you had struggles down the right side of the offensive line, it's gotten better. It's got to be damn good in this football game. The storyline for Oklahoma's offensive line is, how healthy is it, and what's the rotation going to be? You know, coming out of a bye week, Oklahoma went on the road and played Tennessee with two true freshman starting tackles in Mike Fasusi and Ryan Foji. And although they're both really good football players that both have very bright futures, do you want to go on the road and have two? At the very least, this is the best way to put it. At the very least, it's a little bit of a concern if you're an Oklahoma fan going on the road playing Alabama with two true freshman tackles. What do they look like? And then here's the other storyline: is Derek Simmons back from injury? Jacob Sexton, Jake Taylor. Do they play at all? Well, what's the offensive line look like? It's going to be a massive storyline for Oklahoma, but I think it's pretty fair to say that Alabama's offensive line is the one you trust more because they've played better football the last 2 months. Defensive line. I don't think it's all that close. Now, I will say this for Alabama. One of the things that really has me buying stock in this football team in general in the back half of 2025 has been the emergence of Yanza Pierre. 26 total quarterback hurries in the 2025 year. That's more than any other player on Oklahoma. He's been awesome. In my opinion, he's revolutionized Alabama's defense. And look, I don't think this is the best Alabama defensive line we've ever seen, but it's a heck of a lot better than what it was in September, largely due to Yanza Pierre being a gosh darn game wrecker for Alabama coming off the edge. The problem is it seems like it's a little one-dimensional. You haven't had a ton of productivity from some other guys that we thought were going to be damn good football players, where what I love about Oklahoma's defensive line is, one, they're elite against the run. I mean, 2.3 yards per carry given up. That is first in the country. They stop the run. They get you in second and third and longs. They get you in those obvious passing situations. And then they sack you 11% of dropbacks. That is number 2 in the country. Now, to me, what makes Oklahoma's defensive line so dominant and so difficult to deal with is Number one, you have a lot of different skill sets. I mean, you look at a guy like Jaden Jackson, you look at a guy like Dominic Williams and say those guys are dogs against the run. They'll stop the run for you on first and second down. Then on those third and long situations, you trot out a guy like Grayson Halton, who's one of the best pass rushers from the interior of that defensive line that we see in the country. The other thing that I really like is it feels like Alabama's kind of really one-dimensional with the pass rush and Yanza Pierre. If you can take away Yanza Pierre, we haven't seen a ton of other guys have massive impacts in the pass rush. I mean, Oklahoma's got 4 different players that have registered over 15 quarterback hurries. R. Mason Thomas's health is a big storyline. Taylor Wein on the other side has been elite. But here's the storyline. A lot of this pass rush production is coming from the inside. David Stone has been really damn good. Grayson Halton has been really good for the last couple of years. They can generate pass rush and negative plays all over that defensive line in a way that I'm not sure if Alabama can. If you're Oklahoma, how can we take away Yanza Pierre? And if we can take away Yanza Pierre, maybe we stand a chance at stopping this Alabama pass rush. Linebackers, I think it's pretty clearly Oklahoma, and it's not. Alabama's linebackers are not bad. Like, I ain't going to get up here and say that, but I think there's more playmaking. I feel like Oklahoma's linebackers have a bigger fingerprint on the football game than Alabama's do. I'm just going to read off the numbers. Kip Lewis, 6 TFLs on the year. Owen Heineke, 7 TFLs on the year. Kendall Daniels, who's kind of a pseudo linebacker, 9 TFLs on the year. Kobe McKenzie, 5.5 TFLs on the year. All of these guys, they penetrate and they create negative plays. There's not a defense in the country. There's not many linebacker rooms in the country that manufacture more negative plays than Oklahoma's backers. I remember in the offseason, everybody was so concerned about Oklahoma replacing Danny Stutzman. And look, Danny Stutzman, I got a shirt of Danny Stutzman's face on in my closet. I love Danny Stutzman. We severely underrated how good these young linebackers are, and they are showing it for Oklahoma in 2025. Secondary. Very similar conversation, just flip the script here. Like, I think Oklahoma secondary is damn good, right? Cortland Guillory, as a true freshman, has been awesome. And as you've gotten Eli Bowen back healthy, he's been good on the other side. How many better cornerback duos are there in the country than Dejon Lee and Xavier Brown? And then you combine that with the way Bray Hubbard and Keon Saber playing at the safety spot and say, it feels like it's a really, really good secondary. You probably lean Alabama secondary. Again, I think this game is going to be won by quarterback play. Like, what versions of these two quarterbacks that we get and what's it look like along the lines of scrimmage? Can Oklahoma dominate in the pass rush and really get Ty Simpson off his spot? Or can Alabama keep Ty Simpson clean? Because if Alabama keeps Ty Simpson clean, I got no reason to believe Ty Simpson ain't going to have a good day. The question is, can you keep him clean? What version of John Mateer do you get? Fascinating football game. Very excited for. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.